Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn, and today we are taking a look at Skull and Bones, the latest game arriving from Ubisoft, or soon to be like Bankrupty-soft, am I right? Oh God, fucking unsubscribe from me right now. I'll unsubscribe from myself because that was terrible. So yeah, Skull and Bones, the game that's been in development for like a decade, which any time that a game has been in development for a decade, that's never a good sign. Like, no company wants a game to be in development for that long, because then it's just costing money for that long, and it's getting harder and harder and harder and harder to reach a return on investment, right? There's only a few games that can get away with it, and this is not one of them. Like Grand Theft Auto 6, if you told me that it's been in development for 10 years, I would believe you, and I would say that that's fine, and because they're going to make $1 trillion off of Grand Theft Auto 6, and there's nothing that any of us can do about it because everyone's just going to throw money at that game nonstop, always and forever. Thank you. Have a good day. Skull and Bones is not that. So Skull and Bones is supposed to be the, hey, you know all that shit you loved about Assassin's Creed 4, otherwise known as Assassin's Creed Black Flag, where we had all this cool pirate combat and you could do all this cool pirate shit and you could like float around and do pirate stuff and get in pirate battles and like board one another's ships and stuff. Wouldn't it be really cool if we just made a game dedicated to the things that everyone loved the most about Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and everyone was like, yes. In fact, that's a lovely, wonderful idea. I'm so glad you thought of that, Ubisoft. That's great. That's fucking genius. That's mint. You have the perfect idea for a game on your hands, even as a live service. That would be incredible. You should do exactly that. And you know what they did? They did not do exactly that at all. But we'll talk about that more as we get through these trailers. But as much as Ubisoft, this is Ubisoft North America, the main Ubisoft account actually doesn't have this trailer anymore. This is the 2017 E3 cinematic trailer, and I think the only reason that this account still has it is because the last video that Ubisoft North America uploaded was from May of 2022. So they're just not maintaining this official Ubisoft North America YouTube account, and so whoever was supposed to maintain it or whatever, they weren't around when Ubisoft said, hey, delete all the old Skull and Bones footage. And so it was still on there, and I'm sure I could have found it in a bunch of other places. Like GameSpot right here has the official trailer for Skull and Bones at E3 2018. You know what? Go ahead and grab that one too. So yeah, well, let's just start in the back, okay? So without further ado, let's get started. Oh boy. Oh boy. Time to go on a little adventure.
Men from all over the world sail the treacherous trade routes of the Indian Ocean. The riches in their holds fuel their dreams of power and fortune, while whetting the appetites of those they fear most. Pirates.
I saw the little annotation up there and I was like, what's that?
After 70 years, the way he goes there
Pirates of the Caribbean? What?
is to unlock the door.
Is that a mermaid?
No, we're never gonna survive. Hot and black.
6 knots, sir! 6 knots! Too damn slow!
You know, how hard is it to aim a cannon? Like, genuine question. Like, I've seen that little scene of, like, you know, they do it in a lot of movies and games where, like, they take out the mast so that the ship can't sail anymore, which is, like, such a fucking tragic waste, man. It takes so many people so much time to build a ship, and now the ship's just, like, fucking useless. But anyway, like, how actually easy is it to aim a cannon? Like, how accurate can you be with a cannon? Like, obviously, you know it's gonna shoot out the end, right? But, like, I mean, you can't pick it up and just aim. Yeah, so I'm sure it's a lot harder than we think. But how straight does it fly? Right? Like, if you just, like, line it up, does that work? Like, what's the level of deviation that happens?
Crazy.
Also, gold coins don't float like that. Those coins were like floating up.
That if I did not kiss the girls, my lips would grow a moldy. Way haul away, we'll haul away.
Oh boy! Oh, that sucks. Whew, that was a big squid. Did that make it into the game at all? Hey, real. Straight as an arrow, which means not straight at all. There's a reason why ships had to get close just to broadside the other ship, right? Yeah, probably. I mean, also, like, if you just hit the side of the ship, you weren't doing much. Like, you actually had to aim down if you wanted to sink the ship because you needed to blow holes below the water level. Because aiming above where the ship, like, would dip down, it's not going to take on any water. And to hijack the other ship, yeah. All right, so here's the official trailer. So that was from E3 2017. Here's from E3 2018. Now, as a heads up, I kind of handpicked just a handful of these because despite Ubisoft, like, actively not wanting to release this game, there is, like, 40 fucking trailers for Skull and Bones because it's been in development forever. That first trailer is from 2017.
Was wiped out. Those who kneeled were now at the gates of hell. They were killing us off, burning our seas from shore to shore. We thought there was no way the Empire could win this game.
Thought the broadside attack was to destroy the enemy's cannons? Fucking maybe.
As fate would have it,
I don't know. I don't know anything about
tide
ship
turned
combat.
in our favor again. A new wind was at our backs, blowing us straight to heaven. In our new Eden, there was only one rule.
Aloha.
First come, first
That's
serve.
a long cannon. Holy shit. Yeah, that dude had the right response. He was like, holy crap.
We became kings.
Oh, look at them boarding the ship like you
Masters of
can't
our
do.
own new worlds. Fortunes poured down on us. They had their empire. Now it was our turn. Enemies became friends. Friends became enemies. The best didn't trust anybody. The philosophy of the day was more and more. We were alone at the top of the food chain.
Fuck.
Well, we thought we were.
Until Davy Jones showed up.
In a dog-eat-dog world, we were wolves. And wolves hunt in packs.
Well, that was cool. That was cool. So this is the gameplay overview trailer from 2022. So we left the old world and we've entered the new one. Wonder if kamikaze ships were a thing?
Welcome
Fucking probably.
to Skull and Bones.
Low-key
Our
disappointed
game
myself for
takes
never
place
having to write a
during the
book on
golden
ship
age of
combat.
piracy, in a world
Still have a chance to fix
inspired
that.
by the beautiful yet dangerous Indian Ocean. You'll start your journey as an outcast whose goal is to become the most infamous pirate to sail these treacherous waters.
This trailer is still from 2 years
After
ago.
surviving a shipwreck, you begin your adventure in St. Anne, one of the pirate dens in our world. Dens are centers of pirate activity where you can craft new ships and equipment, provision for your expeditions at sea, pick up contracts, and socialize with other players. Any pirate worth their salt will tell you that preparation is key to success. Get ready for any challenges that come your way by checking that your cargo is stocked with items like food and ammunition. Once you're set, it's time to head out and explore. As a rookie pirate, you'll only have access to a small dhow, but as you progress, you'll be able to craft different ships, each with their own unique playstyle. At sea, you'll need to pay close attention to the condition of your ship and the morale of your crew. Your crew are a pack of vicious raiders and rovers who will mutiny against you if not kept well-fed and happy.
Will they
If
actually?
your ship sinks, you'll lose some progress and respawn at the nearest discovered den or outpost. The good news is that most of your cargo will be recovered, and you'll have the opportunity to retrieve the rest from the wreckage. But you'd better be quick, as other players can also steal it. As a pirate captain, your reputation is everything, and our game tracks this through infamy. The higher your infamy, the more opportunities you'll get. One of the many ways to grow your infamy is to take up contracts.
So the game is
These are
able to be
deals
played
that you
right
can
now.
make with other pirates
And I've heard
in the
so
world.
many things already that
Contracts
I'm
can
just
have
like
great
watching
rewards
this
if you're successful,
and I'm not
or
believing
costs
most of
if you
it.
fail. You can also gain infamy by completing other activities, such as exploration, plundering, treasure hunts, investigations, dynamic events, and much more. You can undertake these either solo or with other players. The world of Skull and Bones is filled with riches and resources that you'll be able to gather as you explore.
Note, you are
Lagoons and
gathering,
rivers are
you're cutting
teeming
down
with
trees from
dangerous
your boat.
wildlife that you can hunt for animal skins and meat. You'll also be able to harvest a variety of raw materials, such as ore and wood,
Yeah,
that can be refined
that's how
and
you
used
mine.
for crafting.
You scoot the boat up
Crafting
to
is
the
an
shore,
essential activity for you to progress as an infamous
shoot some
pirate.
cannons at the
Obtain
mountain.
blueprints and
take
use
the
your refined
rocks.
resources to craft stronger ships, weapons, and armors. In Skull and Bones, ships serve many different purposes. Cargo ships are slower, but useful if you need to transport large volumes of loot. Navigation ships sail faster, but have less cargo space and lower hull HP. Firepower ships have more gun ports, allowing you to deal higher damage, but are more challenging to maneuver. Similarly, you can craft a wide array of unique weapons and armors, from Greek fires to giant ballistae to rocket launchers and mortars.
So what you're
as well
saying
as
is
different armor types,
firepower
which have
ships will
varying
probably just
strengths
be the
and
best option.
weaknesses against incoming attacks. With your new fleet and growing arsenal, create a loadout based on your personal playstyle to become a force of destruction. Out in the open ocean, opportunities and threats are abundant. Use your spyglass to identify lucrative trade routes or wealthy merchant ships and assess your prey's cargo and firepower. Strategize a plan of attack based on your opponent's defenses and take advantage of their weak points to deal more damage.
Holy shit, did you see
Sinking
that
your
ship
foes from
fucking go
afar
like
rewards
this?
you with only
The
a
fuck was
portion
that?
of your cargo, as some of it will be lost to the depths.
Why did that
Getting
ship have a
close to
shockwave?
execute a boarding maneuver will help maximize your gains. But beware, you can turn from predator to prey in a heartbeat if you attract the unwanted attention of privateers, the merciless pirate hunters that patrol the seas. If you enjoy the thrill of the hunt,
You gotta be careful
can
with your
also
5-star
seek out
wanted
other
level.
players and rain terror on them. Such PvP battles are high-stakes activities that can be rewarding if you emerge victorious. From your spoils of battle, personalize your individual look with outfits that command respect.
Give me my
You
pink
can also
onesie.
select from a multitude of ship customization options to instill fear in your enemies. With the wind in your sails, journey to the furthest reaches of the Indian Ocean, from the coast of Africa to the East Indies. Encounter extreme weather events like violent storms and monstrous rogue waves. Keep your eyes peeled for outposts, which are safe spots where you'll be able to dock your ship for a short rest from the perilous seas. Here, you can trade with traveling merchants and clandestine smugglers selling rare and illegal goods. Uncover buried bounties at outposts as you decipher treasure maps obtained through your voyages. Although all the content in Skull and Bones can be done solo, you might enjoy ruling the seas with your friends. While sailing, you can also easily invite other pirates you encounter to group up. Synergize your different playstyles, ships, and
I feel like this game
weapons
would be
to
very
defeat
boring yet very
deadlier
satisfying.
enemies.
Yeah, well.
As you grow stronger, take on more difficult challenges, such as attacking forts and plundering settlements. And, if you're bold enough, engage in dynamic events, like taking down heavily laden merchant ships and their fleet of warship escorts. Now, it's up to you to write your own story. Remember, there is no one path to follow, no one way to play. The world of Skull and Bones is yours to discover.
There's so many problems about it. It says it can be played solo, yet all I'm hearing is the other pirate game issues of it being a slog and grindy. Well, I mean, it's meant to be a live service, first off. The other thing is, so this is the Game Awards trailer. I'm just gonna fucking let this play while I talk so that I'm not just talking into nothing. Here's the other thing about Skull and Bones, right? Is like, I talked in the beginning about how this was supposed to be the games as a service, live service model of the ship gameplay from Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. It is not that. The other thing is that Ubisoft has found itself in such a massive shithole with this. So one, they're at a point of like a sunken cost fallacy of where they've spent so much money on this game that they can't just throw it away. They're not Warner Brothers where they can throw away the Batgirl movie and Coyote versus Acme, right? Like they can't just like dismiss it and use it as a write-off because they don't have that level of fuck you money. Like they have the level of we can get fucked money. The other part with this is I would have to go try to track down, because this was a couple of years ago, I want to say now. I don't have a great concept of time, so I think it was either last year or the year before. It came out that Skull of Bones was actually being, so here's a deep dive trailer that I'll just go ahead and play as well. And so one of the other things that came out was that Ubisoft received a grant from the country of Portugal, from the Portuguese government. They got a grant for this game to give it like a historical purpose, essentially, about like trying to, because I mean that's what Ubisoft does, right? Like a lot of times, like when you look at like the type of historical stuff that they've done with like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Origins and stuff like that, and they have like this division that is dedicated to the idea of like maintaining a piece of history. But because they got money from the government of Portugal, they couldn't back out of making the game. They were locked really heavily into it because like you can piss off investors, but if the government says, hey, we're gonna pay you to make a game, You can deliver a bad product, but you still have to deliver a product because the government's going to come fuck you, right? And so that's one issue that they had. And the other thing is that the game is $70, okay? It is a full price title, and it is laden with microtransactions. Like, they are wanting to nickel and dime you. Of course, nickel and dime now is just such a false statement because microtransactions aren't nickels and dimes anymore. Now they're $5, $10, $25, $45 was the price of some cosmetics in Square Enix's most recent game, Foamstars. $45, Square Enix, go fuck yourself. But regardless, and when asked like, hey, Ubisoft, how do you feel that it's acceptable to charge $70 for a game that you have then also loaded up with microtransactions? And the fucking executive's response was like, oh, well, Skull and Bones is the world's first quadruple A game, and given that it's on that level of scale and quality, that's what allows us to have microtransactions in it while also charging $70 for it. And everyone just howled with laughter or sat there in silent disbelief, right? Like, they were either doing what Real's doing right now, which is just laughing their fucking head off, or they sat there like this. Like, there's no way you're fucking serious, right? This doesn't even qualify as a AAA game. I don't even give a shit if it's Ubisoft, right? This game looks AA as fuck, and like a mediocre AA at that, right? The next COD game is going to be the first septuple A. Yeah, you're probably fucking right. Like, if one, quadruple A doesn't fucking exist. And if it did, the only game that might, and a big emphasis on the might, that might be able to try to claim that is going to be Grand Theft Auto 6. And that's only because, like, one, allegedly Rockstar has spent like $1 billion developing Grand Theft Auto 6. But when they're gonna make $1 trillion from it, I kind of understand. And they have a lot of people that have been working on it for a very long time. And with the success of Grand Theft Auto 5 and the Grand Theft Auto 5 Online, like, I can believe where they have probably spent upwards of, you know, $500 million to $1 billion developing Grand Theft Auto 6. This game looks like shit. And so you might be able to say that if you wanted to have a new tier above AAA, that Grand Theft Auto 6 might meet that. This does not. This scrapes the shitty ass dangling off of the side of AAA. And that's just only because Ubisoft has spent an ungodly amount of money on it. Because, like, the problem is video game development costs are just ballooning out of control, right? Because, like, what was it? It was in the freaking Microsoft merger, Sony submitted a lot of documents that weren't properly redacted, and it was like Horizon Forbidden Dawn, Forbidden West, Forbidden Horizon Zero Dawn, one of those, cost $225 million to make, $235 million or something like that, and they only made like $5 million total off of it in terms of like cost versus amount received. And then also, like, the Insomniac hack happened, and it cost $335 million to develop Spider-Man 2, which is just fucking ridiculous to my brain, especially when you got to reuse so much of what you've done in the past. Like, look at Yakuza as a franchise. Yakuza has been reusing the same assets for 10 years or more. I don't know how long, 20 years? Because Yakuza started on the PlayStation 3, right? Whatever. Long ass time. They've been reusing the same shit for a really long time, and it's worked out really well for RGG Studios because it saved them a lot of time and a lot of money. And they're like, this is how we're able to make so many Yakuza games and make them at a really high quality because we're constantly reusing assets, reusing our maps, reusing our cities, reusing our animations, reusing our world, and we're just, you know, updating it and bringing it forward as we do it, and it saves us a lot of of time. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Love that for you, especially congratulations on Infinite Wealth doing so incredibly well. But like, how the fuck then did Insomniac spend $335 million in like 3 years making Spider-Man 2 when they used the same city and most of the same animations? Fucking how? Like, I literally don't understand. And then you got fucking Skull and Bones over here looking like an overambitious indie studio trying to make a pirate game when they had, what the fuck is this? Do we not see this fucking demon ass shit out of Neo looking motherfucking humanoid red panda looking ass thing right here? What the fuck is this? Whatever. And then you have fucking Skull and Bones. And it's playable right now because it releases like in a day or two, and you can get access to it early through whatever fucking means. You probably need to pre-order it or give them your fucking left nut or promise that you'll spend $300 in microtransactions or whatever. And everyone's like, this game is ass because it doesn't do anything that anyone wanted it to do. Like, one, you literally cannot board other people's ships. Like, the idea, there is not the concept of man-to-man combat in the game. So you can't board someone else's ship the way that you can in Sea of Thieves and have been able to for fucking ever, right? And it's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? What was requested out of this title was so blatantly obvious, and what you have done is made the worst version of World of Warships. In fact, if you would have just tried to copy World of Warships, you probably would have done better. But instead, there's this like weird ass game that doesn't have a good enough identity for what it is, because it's like a weird rail shooter that is meant to be like a full-fledged $70 full-service title, and it's missing so many things from the things that everyone said that it should have or would have. You guys deleted a lot of those trailers, I noticed. And then you're sitting over here claiming that it's going to be one of the biggest games ever, and like, you know, maybe I'm fucking wrong. Like, maybe I'm wrong, okay? Because like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, everyone on the internet, including myself, universally said like, damn, I wish this game was better. Like, looking at it before it came out, of like, looks good, sounds good. I would really like to see these characters be like, have a more dedicated story that's not like destroyed by a live service title. And the reviews came out, and the reviews thrashed Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and it's doing pretty well. There's a lot of people playing it. There's a lot of people enjoying it. Just fine. Enjoy what you like. But I mean, it wasn't the game that a lot of people wanted, but I think a lot of people that weren't invested in Rocksteady before, that weren't looking for the next entry in the Arkham series, were like, dude, sick. A game where I can play as Deadshot and shoot the shit out of Superman? Fuck yeah, let's do it. I don't know how long of a life Suicide Squad is going to have, but for all I know, same thing with fucking Skull and Bones. The general reception from critics on the internet is going to be like, it fucking's trash, and then you're just going to have the silent majority play the fucking shit out of it, because that's what very often happens with some of these games. Anyway, what's chat said? Eve said, I would love a game like this, but where I was captain and actually command the ship, much more like Sid Meier's Pirates, which has been the most amazing ship combat game. Yeah, all right. I feel like for me to like a ship game, it either has to be an RTS or has to be super technical and cumbersome and not be fun for 99% of people. I want to have to manage resources and plot angles for cannonballs. Yeah, I can see that too, and I think that would be closer to like World of Warships. It's not quite to that technical degree, and you're definitely piloting like modern battleships rather than, you know, 18th century pirate vessels. Yakuza's been around for 20 years, but to be fair, you don't really want miniseries like Yakuza. I'm not saying that I do want a lot of series like Yakuza. It was just such an easy point comparison to make for like how a studio can reuse assets efficiently and effectively.
Risk everything you have to your name and face off against
And keep their costs
pirate
low
lords
compared to fucking
as you
Spider-Man
seek
2.
to establish your empire on the high seas. From the
So this is the
deceased Philippe
end game
Pest
summary.
And the flamboyant Ubak twins to the enigmatic Li Tianning. Each brings with them looming storms to stir these waters to chaos.
In the weeks leading up to a final standoff at the end of the season, you'll need to overcome their ensuing fleets, each with increasing difficulty. One way to make sure you can take them down is to create tactical ship loadouts and take advantage of the new ships and gear available each season.
Ready your arsenal to defend against impending anarchy by looting stronger equipment through new
I don't
world
understand how there
events
isn't like a cheap and
introduced
easy
each
way to make
season.
games.
While sailing the high seas, you'll also face off other prey and predators alike. From
I'll say
merchant
something on that in
convoys
just a
traveling
moment.
along the trade routes to elite warships guarding faction settlements.
We're really excited for players to discover the endgame of Skull and Bones.
The challenges you face will be more dangerous, with a lot more at stake.
How much did
You'll
the
go from
cannon
working with
barrels
the
get
kingpins
hot?
like Skurlock and Rama to becoming their rivals.
It's like I know how I know from military experience how fast
Hell,
mortar
an
tubes get
unchallenged
hot,
colossus of
but they're not
smuggling beckons aspiring
this
pirates
fucking
from around
thick,
the globe,
right?
with the promise of wealth, influence.
How
and the
hot did
coveted
cannon
title of
barrels
king.
get, and not just like at
Here,
the
you
exit.
discover that you can craft your own contraband, like rum and opium. You start
Sick, we
receiving
can make drugs
manufactories
in this
around
game.
the Den of St. Anne, but more manufactories can be found across other regions of the Indian Ocean. Those can be lumberyards, settlements, foundries, and others you
Yeah,
discover
Eve,
along
you're
the
not
way.
allowed to take a break from a
Controlling
live
them will
service
help you
game.
generate
It's
profit
supposed to be the
automatically,
only game
without
you
needing
play
to do the
ever.
dirty work yourself. You'll also be able to maximize profits.
Could
if
you
you're
fire a
strategic
cannon
pilot.
fast enough to make
Some
it run hot?
manufactories
I
are
don't know.
connected by trade routes,
Probably,
which, if
but also
controlled,
I don't know
will
how
boost your
much
profits.
heat the cannon
With a growing empire, you
Body
can elevate your operations even further
gets
by investing in
from a
upgrades
single
for your
cannon shot.
manufactories.
Because there's a lot
Be
of powder in a
increasing the
cannon,
quality of your
right?
contraband
So there's a lot
or
of
improving the rate of
explosive
production.
energy to
At launch,
hurl
there
the
are two ways to
cannonball.
take control of
A
manufactories.
lot of energy means a lot of
Hostile
heat,
takeovers and legendary
but
heists.
the cannon barrel's really
In
thick.
legendary heists, you'll need to work with
I don't
other
know.
players in a race against time. Rob a golden convoy,
I'm sure someone's done a
survive
YouTube video
horde of
on it.
warships coming after you, and make it to a location where a mysterious contact awaits. In hostile takeovers, you will fight each other in a full-on naval warfare to be the last pirate standing and seize
You
control
know, here's
of the
the
manufacturing.
biggest problem that I
At
have with
post-launch,
this,
we
okay?
will introduce
Like,
new
I
endgame
don't
features each
actually
season, from the
personally
ability
have a
to
problem
assign
that it
fleets of
is
ships to
not
trade routes, to
Assassin's
bribe and
Creed
corrupt
4
officials
Black
for an
Flag
overbearing
as as its own dedicated game, right? I don't actually have a problem with that. Because one, never played Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, so I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care about that.
Of surrounding pirates.
It doesn't even bother me that much that there is not man-to-man combat to where you can't board other people's ships. You can board other people's ships, but it's just like a button that you press and then it happens. You don't like actually jump on board to them yourself or anything like that. The thing that bothers me about this game so much is that it's been in development for so long, and it really just doesn't look like very much, right? Visually, I think it actually looks fine. Like, visually, I think it looks like an alright game. Although, Ubisoft, I'm just gonna say, guys, like, really, I don't know why, but I feel like you guys need to abandon this yellow color, because this yellow color is just making me think of Rainbow Six Extraction, and that's not a good thing. It's just like that weird yellow color. Also, people are not happy with the color yellow right now when it comes to video games anyway, because the whole yellow paint argument got revived thanks to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and woo-wee! Anyway, so it doesn't visually look bad, but it doesn't actually look like there's very much game here. And the game literally looks like very simple levels of let's just shoot ships, right? And it doesn't look very complex in that regard. They've not talked about how, like, technical you can get with the ships and the ship combat. It's just like, well, you build your loadout and then you shoot them and then that's the game. Like,
as we continue to build on the perilous
I feel
world
like it's gonna be
of
fun
Skull
for
and
like
Bones. Ready your cannons.
5
Plunge
hours.
into naval mayhem.
You know, like after your first like decent battle, then everything is just gonna feel very samey after that. Like, oh god, I didn't mean to click on that. I'm sorry. It's making me think someone pissed in a pool. Damn. That opened a new tab. It did. Okay. This is the end game explained.
A sea monster that can destroy your ship with a single hit. A pirate lord who
There
rains
is a
poison
sea
from the
monster.
sky? All of
But you see
this
what I
and
mean? It's
more
kind of just like
awaits
a
when
fucking
Skull and
shooter.
Bones set sail on February 16th, welcoming you to the
Kind of
cutthroat
weird.
world of the
Anyway,
Indian Ocean
so
set
real,
during
the
Golden
biggest
Age of
thing, I don't understand how there isn't like a cheap and easy way to make games. So one of the biggest thing with that is people. People need to be paid and they need to be able to eat. And the average salary for like video game employees, I'm gonna get this number wrong, I swear. But depending on the position, it's like oh, you need a fucking sub, dog. You need a fucking sub. Here, hang on, I got you.
To play around in Skull and Bones' endgame. Your level in the game is measured
I
by
got you,
Entropy,
homie.
and we
Uh-oh,
were set
mute
at
alerts.
Kingpin, the highest ranking.
Anyway.
Because of that, we had a substantial fleet of ships and weapons at our disposal.
I don't know if that frees you from the ad right away or not.
Full of opportunities to take on legendary challenges.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. Ad break's over. So the thing is that people are expensive. And I believe based on the position, like what you do within video game development, the average salary for a video game developer fluctuates between $75,000 to $125,000 a year. And that adds up exceptionally quickly. Like, and that doesn't even include, you know, like if people aren't working from home, like paying for office space, paying for licenses for all of the different programs that people use to develop things, whether that's like art programs or model programs or whatever. Like if you have, you know, 8 people working on a game, like 8 is not very many. 8's a very small development team. But you can make a really good game, I think, with a really dedicated and talented team of 8, but that's still going to cost you $1 million a year. And that's not a small amount, right? And that's largely where people were talking about like how the expense of Spider-Man 2 came about. Is like Insomniac employs like 500 people, or is it 300? It's one of those numbers. And if they all get paid, you know, $100,000 a month, not a month, Jesus, $100,000 a year. Well, you know, what is that? That's fucking 30 million a year, if I can do math at all.
And fend off other players who have come to
Right?
claim the manufacturer for their own. My approach was simple.
Oh no, if there's 500 of them and you average it at $100,000 each, then that's $50 million a year just in labor. And if it takes you 5 years, then that's $250 million just to pay for the employees. And then the other 85 million can show up quickly and easily, depending on like your office space and like insurance and other costs, license costs, power, utilities, taxes, whatever, right?
Even if you fail in
So like you can get those costs up really high depending on how many people are in your team. There are cheaper ways to develop games. I mean, there's, you know, free engines now with the things like the Godot engine, and Unity is pretty well utilized still, because of its low or even free cost. If you are of a smaller size or you're yeah, by the way, there was boarding just now. If you're curious how boarding works, that you might have missed it. They shot some things and then you get this little cutscene, boarding complete. That's it. That was the whole thing. Also, that was like 4 dudes pulling an entire ship over to you. That was pretty impressive too. Regardless of that, though, you know, so like Unreal Engine, if you stay small and you don't make too much money, it can be exceptionally low cost or even free. So like the tools to make it have gotten a lot more accessible, which is also why you're seeing a lot more video game projects and stuff come out. But as soon as you get larger scale, especially if you need to increase the number of your staff, that significantly starts to inflate your development costs, just because people need to get paid so that they can eat, so that they they will continue to do their job and make your game. Now, the other thing on that also is having, seriously, this just looks like a really stylized shooter. The other thing on that, though, is
to the merchant vessel. In this case, me. Once those goods were on my ship,
there is a lot of executives that just try to posture themselves in a way that they think they know what is the right thing to do for a video game, and they are almost always wrong. And so you will have these suits show up that don't know jack shit about video games that will then dictate what the video game is going to be, or then what it needs to do, and it just is not the direction that the game has been being developed, and then that just completely ruins the work that people have already done on said game. And then, like, that's what happened to Anthem. That's probably what happened to this game. I'm sure it'll come out eventually that it's just being pulled in a bunch of directions, which inevitably means that it just doesn't actually make any forward progress, just lateral progress, because it keeps on having to shift focus, or something does or doesn't work. Or there's the problems that we saw with like Final Fantasy 15, where it kept getting pulled in different directions, and then it got new directors and stuff, and like it happens, and it happens a lot, especially when you see these games that have these exceptionally bloated development times, where they're like 10 years of development time. Like, if everything is running and working smoothly, you see better games developed at a lower cost at a shorter timeline. And to bring it all the way back around full circle, I think that's one of the things that you can point out with something like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. They know how to keep their costs down. They knew what they wanted to make. They had a good team and a good leadership that would just push them forward, and they released a great game at a low cost to them that they sold a lot of copies of and made a lot of money. And that's fantastic for them, and I'm very happy for them in that circumstance, in that aspect. But unfortunately, that is not the norm within the industry anymore, as we're seeing with a lot of the Xbox studios of like, what the fuck are you guys doing, right? And like, I feel like after Skull and Bones, fuck man, Ubisoft is going to be up for fucking sale to somebody, because they're so in the hole with this damn game. I'm more so thinking that if the first Assassin's Creed on PS5 has a staff of 300, can't you essentially make a level editor, character creator, recycle the rest, and use a much smaller staff? Probably, but I mean, it's easy to say that from an armchair. Like, armchair developing is something that, you know, it's easy to say, but I don't know how easy in terms of a reality that is. Assassin's Creed is also a really weird one, because they want to go for like that historical accuracy, so they're having to like really painstakingly handcraft the maps to match, you know, like 1774 Boston or whatever, right? And so, like, but ultimately, I mean, that's kind of a lot of the way that that level development works anyway, is that the idea is the engine has the tools and everything, and then you are able to just create in place and create in place. But I don't know enough to know otherwise, right? Like, it sounds like it should be feasible. I'm thinking of when I did a bunch of like map creation and like pseudo game design for RTS games like Warcraft 3 and Command and Conquer Red Alert 2, to where like I opened up a level editor and I built a level, and I even like started getting into like script layers and stuff like that, to where when these units would pass this threshold, it would trigger this event, which would lead into like a cutscene and stuff like that, to where it's like me on my own, I was able to essentially build levels for these video games because I was provided the tools to do so. And I feel like a game like this, that should be really possible. I feel like it should be. But I can also very easily understand how that wouldn't be completely possible for a lot of other games. Like, the new God of War isn't as good of an example as I wanted to be, because it's a little bit more open play. But for the more linear style games, where it's like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, of like you just move into the next zone, I don't know how feasible that would be. I don't know. I feel like I just described how DLC is made. I mean, fucking maybe. All right. So we've made it up to February 6th of 2024. This is the launch trailer. By the way, again, I just want to point out, you see that beautiful boarding animation? You just pull the ship over and you get some loot. Good job, everybody. We did it. Well, that sucks. That's fucking DMCA as hell. That's fucking Billie Eilish. Fuck it. Whatever. Who gives a shit?
On land, we were nothing. Outcasts, oppressed by the fat cats and rich pigs.
And yeah, Eve, if this was a single player game and not a live service, I think everyone would feel a lot better about it too.
On the lawless seas.
People are getting pretty sick and tired of live services that are just like disingenuous cash grabs. Games like Helldivers are doing exceptionally well for themselves because they're reasonably priced and their monetization isn't overly aggressive or predatory. And then you got shit like this, which is probably just going to be looking to suck every possible cent out of you as quickly as possible. And that is problematic. And people are like wisening up to it and getting tired of it. And they're like, what value does this actually give me? And why is this fucking shirt $25?
And everything. Free to carve out our own destiny.
You should see me in the crowd. Watch me make a bow. One by one. You should see me.
And all those that stand in our way, may their corpses rot.
There's a very significant lack of gameplay being shown off in terms of like how the game actually functions in this launch trailer.
Their world was never ours. But we took it anyway.
Like, there is in-game graphics, but actual like gameplay shots that aren't like super cinematic, they've been avoiding those pretty heavily in general, and I think it's because they know the game is not gonna be very good. That'd be fucking terrifying, by the way. This fucking ghost ship with nobody on it just shows up and starts unloading salvos at you. Fuck that.
Long live piracy.
There you go. Pre-order the premium edition. How much is the premium edition? I just gotta know. I thought I already had this open. Or did I not open it because it's not on Steam? Yeah, it's not on Steam. Wait, is it actually not on Steam? No, it is not on. Fuck. That's also not gonna do well for them. Like, Epic Games exclusivity as well as the fucking Uplay store. Dog. Let me tell you what. You want to know how to have a game just not fucking do well? You don't put it on any platform that anyone likes to play games on, all right? Like, how much is the premium edition? Premium edition. How do I see all editions and add-ons? It is $90. Also, hey, the game's only $60 on Epic Games Store instead of $70. Uplay sounds like a bootleg console. Yes, they basically might as well be. Oh, God. Did you know that Ubisoft just has like an obnoxious number of employees? I had no idea. 21,000 people are employed by Ubisoft. That's a fucking insane number. That's fucking crazy. Like, how do you even afford that many people? you must make so much money from something that I don't fucking understand. It can't just be off of your annual Assassin's Creed, and they're all working on Skull and Bones. There's no fucking way. But like, man, that is so fucking many. Like, hold on, I can't. I don't have the mental capacity to do this kind of math right now. 21,000 with an, let's just say, an average salary. That is $2 billion a year spent on labor. That's a fucking shitload, dog. That is a lot, okay? Like, so, to make a comparison, Yakuza, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, just $60, sold 1 million copies. They don't get all $60. Inevitably, something is taking 30%, which means $42. There's generally some sort of fees or something. You can normally average out that a studio is getting somewhere between $20 to $30 per sale of their game if their game is $60, right? So 30 times 1 million is 30 million, which was like incredible, right? Like, that's an incredible number of sales. RGG Studios was stoked out of their mind at how quickly they sold 1 million copies of Infinite Wealth. And it's like 30 million. How long? That covers 300 people for a year, which, like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Except for the whole thing of that there's 20,000 of them over at Ubisoft. How the fuck does that work? I don't know, and I don't want to know. Anyway, the general reception also, because we're watching these in this play early window for Skull and Bones, has not been positive. Shocking, I know. People said that it is closer to The Division than it is anything else, which kind of makes sense because didn't Ubisoft make The Division? But there was also a lot of people that also didn't like The Division, and The Division made a lot of promises that it didn't keep. So the majority of them are probably minimum wage. I don't know how wide sweeping that 21,000 is, but I mean, nobody in video game development makes minimum wage, right? Like, there's definitely some people that are underpaid, but underpaid in video game development is like, you know, 40K. Which is abysmally low, but it's nowhere near minimum wage. I also wonder where those employees are located, because Ubisoft is a fucking French? What country are they from? French, yeah. They're French, and they all obviously have studios in other countries. Like, this is Ubisoft Singapore is where Skull is the main studio that's working on Skull and Bones. And I don't know what type of labor wage protections they might have in places like Singapore and France and stuff like that, right? So I don't know. The majority probably aren't devs. Yeah, but what the fuck are they doing? Right? Like, nobody has their own. I mean, I could be fucking wrong on this, but it's like they've had the same CEO since 1988. Holy shit. Same dude's been running the company for fucking ever. And dude looks like a villain off of like a Hallmark movie. Big surprise, I know. That dude is rich. Yeah. Net worth. What is your net worth, buddy? What does Google say your estimated net worth is? Well, Ubisoft as a company is valued at $3.10 billion. According to their market listing, their market cap is $3.1 billion, which is surprisingly low if they have like $1 billion a year in labor cost. I dropped it from 2 billion to 1 billion on the idea that some people are making less. Sure. What is this junk ass website? What does it say? It says his total compensation is 1.2 million a year. His net worth is some fucking amount. He's probably worth a crap load though. You're not the CEO of a massive multi-billion-dollar company and not also be a massive at least a couple of hundred millionaire, right? right? Anyway, if you started a game company in the 90s and still going today, yeah, fair enough. All right, anyway, so that's been like way too fucking long of a conversation about Skull and Bones and video game development and video game costs. So the latest quadruple-A release coming out of Ubisoft, Skull and Bones, releasing to absolutely critical acclaim and widespread reception. Go and get it. Don't. I strongly encourage you to wait and to get a lot of an informed opinion from your friends that made worse decisions than you, and find your most trusted video game reviewer and see what they think and said about it as well. And then also see what the general reception is from it on the internet side of things too, because I'm sure that will shift and change wildly. But yeah, that doesn't include his Illuminati money. You right. So Skull and Bones. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you've been playing it, how do you feel about it? I mean, you probably have already typed a nice long message down below. Don't worry, I do read them. Because I am still small enough to creator that I am able to thankfully read everyone's YouTube comments. Some of you are mean. But thank you to everyone that does engage with my content. I appreciate it a lot. If you want to keep up the conversation elsewhere, I'm on basically all the social media, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, Discord, links to everything in the description down below. Or you're welcome to join us on Twitch. You can join the conversation because these videos are recorded live on stream, and I would love to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please subscribe to the channel. If you watch one of the other videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream. Thank you and enjoy.